It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and this is news that you can use from CarEdge for Thursday, August 8th, with your hosts, me, the Blue Boy, Ray, and, well, the kid wearing the white T-shirt, Zach. How are you today, handsome? How's that sickness that's grabbing hold of you?
Yeah, I'm sick, but that's okay. I'm doing all right. Happy Thursday, everyone. Today's show is brought to you by our company. My dad and I founded CarEdge back July of 2020. Yeah, so over 4 years ago. Back at CarEdge.com, we can help you with our car search, our car buying service, which is under Buy a Car right here, which does work for leasing. Want to remind everyone, our car buying service works for leasing. Car buying toolkit that includes dealer invoice, price. So for any new vehicle, you can see the dealer invoice. If you need to sell a car, you want to protect the vehicle, or you want to access all of our great research materials, it's all right there. Back on CarEdge.
Tell me about some of those research materials. Tell me about depreciation and cost of ownership and you know, the important stuff that people need to know when they're making a decision, when they're comparing one brand against another.
Dad, just come on here. Just come on here and do yourself a little depreciation calculation and get all sorts of interesting information. Almost rhymes. Dad, the big story for today.
Yes.
There you go. Giant ad pops right up on the screen. The big story today, Dad, another one bites the dust. Mitsubishi Mirage is officially dead, leaving just one sub $20,000 new car. The Nissan Versa is the only remaining sub $20,000 new vehicle for sale in the United States of America. Just yesterday, we were talking about Honda's really incredible quarterly earnings, in part because they were selling cheap two-wheelers internationally. Yes. But Dad, the big story today, the affordability crisis just got even worse. The Mitsubishi Mirage has gone the way of the dinosaurs.
I didn't even realize it still existed, but I am saddened to hear of its demise. You know, the truth of the matter is the United States needs some sub $20,000 new cars. Not that sub $20,000 new cars buys you a lot of car, but it buys you good, solid, basic transportation. And for those who can't afford a more expensive new car, or who can't afford even an overpriced higher mileage used car, you know, you need alternatives such as the Versa, such as the Mirage. And so it is sad to see that the Mirage is going away. There are, not that the car sold well.
Yeah.
But the people that bought it because that's what they could afford. And so, you know, I hate to see, when we're in such an affordability crisis, I hate to see those affordable options disappear.
We've been tracking back at CarEdge.com for a long time car price inflation, and there are two factors that increase car prices. One is the mix of vehicles that are produced. Okay, so automakers intentionally decided for a long period of time there during the pandemic to stop producing the entry-level trim options of their vehicles. That was a huge story that we were covering with brands like Honda, for example, or even Toyota. You can go on the car search and you can see there's very few of the entry-level options. There's a lot more of the higher trim level options. The other is obviously the price point of the vehicles that they are producing. So instead of making subcompact cars, let's make big SUVs and pickup trucks. The odd one out in all this stuff that continues to be Nissan, because the other big headline and big story from today is Sonic Automotive, one of the largest car dealers in the United States. Their executives are coming out and saying, hey, look, we have too much inventory. Okay, but then you dig into that, you peel the onion back a little bit, and Nissan is one of those brands that they have too much inventory of. And I know we talked about it. We've talked about it all week. We'll continue to talk about it. It's quality. Quality is the other factor in this that plays a role. But automakers have an intentional decision to make if they want to, you know, increase the average transaction price of their vehicles. It's what trim level and what type of vehicle they make. And again, Nissan is kind of that, the quality is kind of meh. So that's why their inventory is building up.
Nissan, I guess the demise of Nissan started when Carlos Ghosn became the head of Nissan.
Yep.
I remember when I started in the business
The
in
Datsun days.
1977. Back when Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble used to come in to just talk about what's going on in the world.
Yep.
I started at a Datsun store. I mean, Datsun was an important part of my life, and they made some great cars at one time. The 240Z, which became the 260Z, and the 280Z, and then the 280ZX, and now whatever the hell it is, and the Maxima, which became a was affectionately referred to as a four-door sports car, and their little pickup trucks, and then their bigger pickup trucks. The Pathfinder, when it first came out, I mean, that was like an unbelievable idea that just seemed indestructible at the time. And now it's like pretty much everything they make seems to have some issues. It's either underpowered or the transmission is an issue. It's the quality has gone down, the quality of the interiors, whatever it is. And it's really kind of sad to see for somebody that spent 43 years in retail automotive. A lot of brands lose their way. Believe it or not, Acura at one time really lost its way. They when Toyota came out with Lexus and Acura had the Legend, okay, and everybody wanted a Legend. These were the upscale Japanese brands to have, the Nissan, the Acura Legend, and Lexus products. And the good folks at Honda and Acura kind of said, well, we don't want the brand just to be known as the Legend. So, they started changing names and they started losing direction. And, because when they first came out, the tagline was precision crafted performance. And then they didn't know what the hell they were for years. And Nissan seems to fall into the same situation. They don't seem to understand what they are or who it is they're trying to sell to anymore. And it's really sad to see.
Makes me wonder if a lot of automakers lose their way, Pops. Again, the Sonic Automotive story this morning is they're just talking about plainly, we have too much inventory. And again, I'll come down here. A Sonic Automotive Incorporated executive chided automakers, including Stellantis and Nissan, for swelling inventories that he called, quote, ridiculous. Sonic president, again, Sonic is one of the world's largest car dealers. Sonic president Jeff Dyke told investors and analysts in August 5th second quarter earnings call that inventory pileups contributed to lower profits per new vehicle, and some brands' days supply have skyrocketed. Quote, Stellantis, Nissan, some of these brands are 100, 200 days supply of product out there and are just ridiculous that we're fighting against in terms of managing age, which reduces the front end profit per vehicle, Dyke said. This is the sixth largest dealership group in the United States. There's two automakers that have lost their way, right? Like that's exactly what you just said is exactly demonstrating itself in the data right there. Stellantis went way too upmarket, 50% price increases over 5 years. Nissan, bad quality, and people just don't want to buy the products. They lost their way, and now look at it. If you're a bargain hunter, if you're shopping for a bargain, go pick up a Jeep, go pick up a Nissan.
But the question becomes, are they really bargains? If you've raised your price 50 to 60% in the last 5 years, if you've raised the MSRPs, and you suddenly get 10% off, are you really getting a bargain, or are you still overpaying for an overpriced vehicle? The price of the vehicle didn't go up as much as it did because of the quality that were added to it. It was pure, unadulterated corporate greed that was added to it. They saw what was going on during the shortages. They saw the additional dealer markups that the dealers were charging for the cars. And they said, well, if the dealers can get that, so can we. And they didn't give you more for your money. They gave you the same damn vehicle they gave you before, just for more money. So, can you really get a bargain?
An overpriced bargain. I like what Phil's got here. An overpriced bargain. That's it.
I mean, I was watching television last night, which I do most nights, and an ad popped up for a Ram 1500, the 2025 Ram 1500. Most qualify for $3,000 discount or whatever. What the hell is $3,000 on an $80,000 truck? I mean, who are we kidding? That's if you. We know from research that the average transaction price for Ram pickup trucks is in excess of $68,000. So you're going to get that down to 65.5, and that's going to move that product.
So on the inventory
bargain.
On the inventory front, Ed, we did get some updated data about July. We are just shy of 3 million new cars in dealer inventory. And so pair these headlines together, guys. You've got Sonic Automotive, their executives coming out and saying it's ridiculous the amount of inventory we have. Inventory is built back up to I'm gonna call it 3 million. It's 2.94. Yeah. It's 3 million. There's 3 million new cars on dealer lots right now, which is the highest it's been in 4+ years. And then you don't have to look that far. Let's go to the CarSearch, Dad.
I love the CarSearch.
I love the CarSearch too. Let's pick on a different brand. What brand should we pick on today?
I don't know. What brand would you like? You don't seem to want to pick on Stellantis today.
Well, I'm just coming here. Ford, Lincoln, Stellantis. Those are the ones we always pick on because they're the ones that have the highest days supply of inventory. So you know what? We'll stick with it. We'll go with that Ram 1500.
Okay.
New. Where are we? We're in Minnesota. Okay, let's pick a new location. Let's at least change that.
We were in the Twin Cities, yeah.
Yeah, we were in the Twin Cities. Where should we go today?
Let's do Miami. 30101, I think.
33101.
33101, yeah.
All right, we're going to Miami looking for a Ram 1500, folks. We've got the 2024s popping up here. Wow, look at the price points on these. Holy cow. There's a 2025. We'll do a 2024. We'll do a nice and expensive limited over here. Also, I want to remind everyone, we now have on the CarEdge CarSearch dealer invoice cost. There's a nice markup in these things, man. That's a nice markup. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Only 106 days supply, Dad. Only 106 days supply. Let's go look at a 2025. This is a relatively cheap 2025.
That is. When the sad reality is when we can say $50,000 is relatively cheap.
When you're comparing it to the $85,000.
No, I get it.
But there you go, 529 days supply. Oh, you know what? I wasn't even planning on doing this today, but we are going there. When was the last time we looked at the Mach-E inventory situation?
A couple days ago.
Yeah, at least it's been a couple days.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, we'll look at this one. Yeah, 208. So again, it's not like you have to look that far, but the data keeps telling the same story. The data we look at, the headlines that you get from these executives, the data you get from Cox Automotive, all signs point to some automakers lost their way, and now they're tripping up over their feet. And again, the impetus for today's headline was the fact that the Mirage got axed. So you're like, where do you have the most growth in sales right now in the auto industry? Sub $30,000 cars. Where do we see the least amount of R&D happening? Sub $30,000 cars.
And allegedly, because somewhere along the line, and people I'm going to say this, and then people are going to say, oh, Ray hates EVs. I don't hate EVs. They're just not practical for me. Okay? But somewhere along the line, for the past 2 years, all I've heard about in EVs is Tesla's coming out with a $25,000 EV. When? I mean, because we're talking affordability. We're talking, the Mirage, which was a sub $20,000 vehicle, has gotten axed. If there is truly the demand that I think there would be or should be for cars in the $17,000 to $25,000 price point, and we know that price point works because we know the Chevy Trax is selling like crazy.
Totally.
Okay. Well, what in the world would happen if there really honestly was a $25,000 EV that we've heard so much about for the longest period of time? And I'll say it this way. And when it happens, could it just be, I don't know, a $25,000 EV without factoring in the alleged tax credits
Gas
that
savings
you might qualify for? Okay, because I am sick and tired of hearing people say, well, with the $7,500 tax credit here and the $3,000, it cost me 12 cents. BS! Not everybody qualifies for this stuff. Oh, my God.
All right, we're going to switch gears.
I'm
We're going to
getting a
switch
headache.
gears. I already have one. All right, Dad. Baron of Gray Matter. Thank you, Baron.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ray. When we bought our first cars, we bought from neighbors or low-level used car lots that can't afford new cars. Plenty of used out there.
Don't be sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. My point is that if you're going to spend $15,000 to $20,000 on a pre-owned car today, my guess is that that's probably going to be somewhere around a 7, 8, 9-year-old car with 100,000+ miles on it. Maybe you're lucky. Maybe it's only a 6-year-old car with 100,000 miles on it. And if you're going to spend that type of money for a 6, 7, 8-year-old car with 100,000 miles on it, aren't you really better off just buying a brand new car for $18,000 with no miles on it, that has a warranty? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can push the gas pedal down as hard as you want, and it's still not going to go anywhere in a hurry. But aren't you better off with that than running the risk of buying a car with 100,000+ miles on it and not knowing what's going to break and when and how expensive it's going to be to repair when it does?
Remember, folks, if you buy a used car pre-purchase inspection,
Yes.
remember that. All right, Dad, one more comment from the chat here, and then we're going to switch gears from For the Love of Rides. Are manufacturer incentives based on the zip code of the dealer selling the vehicle or based on the zip code where the vehicle will be registered? This is a good one.
In some cases, it's based on where it will be registered. For instance, when I was in Arizona, when we were in the Phoenix area, and I was at the Acura store, Acura North Scottsdale. Well, we would have programs from Acura that didn't include California. So if you saw some of our incentives in Arizona and you were from California and you wanted to register the car there, you wouldn't have qualified for the incentives that we had. So incentives can and often are regionalized or state specific. So, yeah.
And there can be national programs.
Absolutely.
And then they can be hyper specific. I've even seen with some Ford dealers, you got to be like, it's zip code specific, but also like you got to be on like an email list and you get an offer. So they can get very, very, very specific. And this is also very true with like the regional ad co-ops. So especially as we get into the fourth quarter, this end of year, there's going to be all sorts of highly specific regional dollars being, thrown out there for incentives. So it's based on both. It's absolutely based on both. Baron says, thank you, Baron. They can't afford 15 to 20,000, more like 2 to 4,000. Yeah, that's There's a totally
different story altogether. Yeah. And truth be told, you wait 3 years, you could probably get that Mirage for 2 to 4,000. No, I'm kidding. You're not going to get it that cheap, but no. So yeah, if you're looking for a $2,000 to $4,000 car, then you're looking to buy from a private party, a specialized used car lot a lot like Brandon's at
Yep.
Car Questions Answered, and Brandon specializes in cars $5,000 and below.
Well, Dad, this ties into where I want to go next. Is that okay?
Certainly.
All right. We've got over on X, Car Dealership Guy. He posts these, I don't know, like once a month, temperature checks on the economy. All right. So he asks everyone in the car business to share what's going on.
Yes.
There was one comment in particular that got a lot of attention. It was this one from That Guy 2023. Subprime dealer in the Southwest. Last month, we pushed 85 cars as a 4-person store. This month, we're pacing for 75. 29.9% APR for all of them.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Wow. I'm surprised they still have 4 salespeople, because I would have thought if each salesperson's selling like 20 some cars and making the kind of money they got to be making, half of that sales force has to be on vacation this month.
30% APR is almost usurious. That's insane.
The sad reality is you've heard me say this in the past. People who can afford to pay the most pay the least, and people who can afford to pay the least pay the most. Yep. If you have bad credit, you are paying the most. Okay. And that is your reward for bad credit. Now, I understand that there can be any number of factors as to why somebody might have bad credit. Okay. There could have been a medical condition. There could, but there are a lot of people out there, and I ran the credit applications. I saw the credit applications. There's a lot of people out there that their only excuse was, well, I didn't pay. Okay, well, that's not a good excuse. Okay, have a reason, have a story that somebody can sell to the bank. But I just didn't want to pay. That's not a good story. So my point is that if you find yourself in that situation, you're going to be paying 29%. You are going to get taken advantage of.
There's 2 stories here, Dad. There's one which is, holy cow, people end up paying 30% on a car note. The other story here is, I'm going to show you a few other responses to this thread. A lot of them are negative. Like, hey, business is really bad. That one was positive. The one where it was the person selling 85 cars with a 4-person team to people with bad credit, that indicates to me lower price point vehicles, right? Like those people that are getting 30% interest are not on $50,000 new cars, right? Can't be.
I would think not.
I imagine these are like what, $10,000 to $20,000 cars.
Subprime store, so they're $5,000 cars that are being sold for $10,000.
So this is, I guess that's like the other story here that I actually think is like really important to latch onto, because look at some of these other comments, Dad. Ford dealer in Utah, slowest start to an August I've seen since being in the business. Philly area Nissan, we have been abandoned by the manufacturer. We are focusing on used and CPO, F&I, and fixed operations to save us. We will survive this, but it's certainly not going to be fun. This whole thread is just listed and littered with manufacturer dealerships. There's even someone from Toyota in California saying it's slow. But then you juxtapose that with where is the excitement right now? It's the 30% APR people who are looking for a sub $20,000 car. Does this not all just connect back together?
Well, it does, and we've talked about this for years.
Folks. Years.
We need to educate kids while they are in high school as to how to effectively budget, how important credit is in our society, and the importance of having good credit. And we need to do that before these folks become car buyers and commit to some of these things. We need to teach these kids how to buy a car, how to get the information to be able to be informed when they buy a car. It is to a certain degree a failure on us older folks when it comes to educating those younger folks. And
again, two stories. That's one of them.
Yeah.
The other is Midwest Stellantis dealer curled in a fetal position and crying under my desk. I have no idea what to expect next.
Well,
Two
I can help
stories,
them.
right? Two
I can
stories.
help them with what to expect next.
Huh.
Ain't nobody going to come knocking on your desk for a while because there ain't nobody coming in.
Right? So there's like, again, don't put yourself in a position where you need a 30% auto loan. And that is the bright spot right now in the industry, are people who are looking for cheap vehicles that can't really afford them, but can get approved for an auto loan. And then the other story is curled up in the fetal position at a Stellantis dealership because I can't sell anything. The other one there, I'll pull that back up. The other one there was Southern California Ford. It is slow, unusual for summer months, very unusual. New car sales hurting even as interest rates are starting to drop. No used cars coming in. And what does come in is wholesaled. People holding on to their cars for a longer time, not sure what the future holds. I love these temperature checks because they just give you an idea of what's going on out there. And I agree with you. There's a lot of work needed to be done for young people to not be in a bad position financially and with their credit.
Yes.
And there's also an auto industry that is shaky footing.
There is, we older folks, and I'm classifying you as an older folk for this.
Wow.
Because
I'm not even 30 yet, man.
Yeah, well, because of what it is that we're attempting to do.
Yeah.
We older folks with a better understanding of the automobile industry have an obligation to empower and inform younger folks so that they won't make some of the mistakes that others have. And a lot of what goes on that makes some businesses successful is the fact that they take advantage of people who don't know any better, who haven't had the opportunity to be educated and informed.
Of course,
And that's part and parcel of, I guess, how capitalism works to a certain degree. But we need, from our perspective, and what I mean by our perspective, from CarEdge's perspective, is we need to be at the forefront of that education so that we can help reduce the number of people that it might happen to. Because if our school systems aren't going to do it, and apparently they're not, then it falls on the shoulders of others to do it. I don't know how we can get our stuff in school systems throughout America, but that stuff should be there for kids. That stuff should be there for young adults so that they can understand how the system works and what's required on your behalf in order to ensure that it can work for you. So yeah, I'm short, fat, and bald, and I don't have the broadest shoulders in the world.
No, you really don't.
But I can handle a little more weight on my shoulders, trying to help others out, and we just want to help. Okay, it's pretty simple.
GG says make a training course for parents to buy. No need. We made it for free. CarEdge.com/deal school, or just Google search deal school, and that'll pop right up. CarEdge.com, folks. We'd make a ton of this free. So please.
And shouldn't deal school be part of every high school's curriculum? It's already made. It's free. The only cost is a little bit of your time, and what you could get out of it can not only save you time, but save you time and money. And
100%, Pops.
I don't know. I'm done with my rant for today. But let's help the world, damn it.
For the kind contribution. Getting very slow. The hot to trot Land Cruisers are all sticker all over California. Dealers have inventory. Relatively speaking, that's a flop. Whoa. So yeah, even for brands like Toyota, things are starting to temper down a little bit. And from Taker, thank you, Taker, I think Chrysler could legit disappear as a brand. Maybe someone will probably buy it. There's some value in that intellectual property there. Maybe, supposedly. possibly.
And at one time when I guess when Walter Chrysler still owned Chrysler, it was a cutting edge brand. You wouldn't remember the Chrysler Imperial, but that was the vehicle that was their luxury car to compete with Cadillac and Lincoln, and it was quite the car. They have fallen a long way.
Yeah, certainly seems that way. All right, folks. Well, that's another show in the books. Tomorrow is Friday, which is very exciting. So please tune in at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern for more news you can use. And Baron, thanks for keeping us on here another moment. Appreciate the contribution. Had a seminar I shopped to schools to teach credit, rent, banking, saving, investing. I was run out of district saying I was racist and privileged. Interesting. That's a shame. Fascinating experience. But kudos to all of you out there who try and empower the next generation to be more financially savvy. We obviously try and do that in our own way here. Collared shirt Friday, maybe. If I'm feeling better, I'll wear a collared shirt.
And it's another rainy, dreary day here at the shore, and it's
Same
not
here.
particularly warm. So maybe tomorrow, I will commit to a sneeze and a collared shirt.
If we can help you with anything, folks, please, again, check out the website, CarEdge.com. Dad, I love you very much. Thank you for your time as always. And everyone, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Appreciate you.
I love you equally as much there, handsome. And yes, everybody have a great rest of your day, as I might sneeze again.
We'll stay on for the sneeze.
No.